A friend of mine brought something to my attention not too long ago about some counsel that she wanted to give me months ago. And she said, I wanted to tell you, but you were so deep in your pain, you wouldn't have heard me. And it got me to thinking, she was right, by the way, but it got me to thinking that when we are in situations and no matter what pain you are in, it is so hard to see outside of your own scope of pain. Think about it. Emotional, mental, financial, whatever it is, physical pain. When someone comes to try to give you some counsel or tell you something that even may be for your betterment, it just seems like you can't see your way through it and you don't have a receptive heart because that pain is what clouds your judgment. That pain stops you from listening. And I'm afraid that in our relationships, in our friendships, our pain stops us from conflict resolution. And what it is, let's call it what it is. A lot of times it's also rooted in pride. I don't want to give in to seeing your side of it. I don't want to see that other person's point of view. And we have gotten so far into we can't even squash a beef. I had a homegirl and it kind of hurt my feelings. You know, she had an alt with me for something. I didn't necessarily agree with the alt, but I said, hey, let's talk about it. Oh, she didn't want to talk about it. She didn't give me a chance to talk about it. And I'm thinking like, well, if we can't talk about it and come to a resolution, I guess that's just where it's going to be. And it's very sad that we treat relationships like that. God will put somebody in your life, a spouse, a partner, a friendship, and one thing goes wrong, one disagreement, one misunderstanding, one I didn't like what you said. And it's like, everything is over. It makes me think about the God that we serve. In Isaiah 118, God says, come now, let us reason together. And when he says, let's reason together, he's saying how he can save you. And he also gives stipulations. We do not follow that pattern of what he does. We don't say, hey, let's talk about it. I'm going to say my side. And listen, when we say talk about it, that'll mean I want to hear what you got to say. And I'm just going to rattle off how I feel. We get so caught up in, again, that pain and that pride and those feelings that you can't even listen to another person's viewpoint. You can't listen to another person's objective. You can't hear another person's twinges or what you call triggers. You don't want to hear that because you were so blinded. And you are also self-exalted your own feelings because basically what you were saying to this other person is, nobody gives a damn about your feelings because it's all about my feelings. And it comes down to the idolization of feelings. And the more and more that we progress in time, the more and more that we're seeing no one even has any. It's just, and I've talked about this before. Okay, just go no contact. We don't talk no more. After one misunderstanding and one, whatever you want to call it. Okay. But the problem is instead of saying, hey, we had a little snafu. I apologize. You apologize. We fixed it and we went on and we were stronger because of it. Hey, we don't stand the test of time. You don't stand the test of time because as soon as someone does something you don't like, you're done with it. You don't want to hear what they got to say. Oh, they know better. They know what they did. I'm not explaining myself. And I think we've all been guilty of it. Hey, man, I ain't even been explaining it to a grown person. But unfortunately, sometimes you do because we don't see the world the same. I had a friend of mine I was talking to on the phone the other day and I said, listen, we're going to have to agree to disagree because we don't look at the world the same. Our backgrounds are the same. Our culture is not the same. The way we grew up is not the same. It is okay that we do not see things the same. But what is not okay is us using those differences in a way that separates us and divides us when we've been good to one another. We've had a good relationship and we've gotten to a point where we think that people are so disposable. Oh, I think Beyonce did y'all the number when she said, you think you irreplaceable. But the problem is some people are irreplaceable. Sometimes you meet somebody so solid you'll never find another. Sometimes that good husband or that good wife, you're not even going to come close. You squandered it and you will not get another. And that's just the ugly truth, especially us women. We love to get rid of a good man and I can get another one. And then you spend 30, 40 years and you ain't had another one like that one. Talk to me, somebody. So I'm saying this to say we really have to work on conflict resolution to say, you know what? I really don't want to lose that person in my camp. They've been good to me. No one is perfect. They've been good to me. They've been square dealing. They've been an asset to my life. I really don't want to. Am I going to let this one thing? I'm not saying you don't need a cool off period. I don't say you need time to nurse your wounds. But at some point to say, you know what? And I'm going to say this to challenge you to say, but I'm probably looking at it from my own lens, my own pain, my own different things. We all have different things that offends us. I don't like that. You don't like that. But that may not be a big deal to me. And so we have to do better if we want relationships that gonna last. You see friend groups and oh man, they done lasted 20, 30 years, or they've been friends 15 years. Well, they didn't get that way because they never had an argument. They didn't get that way because they never disagreed. They got that way because respectfully they knew how to communicate and move forward. And unfortunately, if you don't learn conflict resolution, if you don't learn to humble yourself and say, you know what, I'm looking at it like this. I could be way out of line though. I could be looking at it from my own background of obviousness and what makes sense to me. And I really, really could, take a step back and think about where they were coming from. We don't like to do that. And in order for us to be, especially creatures who are trying to live a life after Christ Jesus as him as a pattern, we're going to have to. You think all 12 disciples all got along all the time? Even when Jonah had beef with God, God said, hey, let's talk about it. This is the sovereign creator of the world who says, hey, you can bring that to me. Why can't we follow that same template of saying, hey, I got an issue with you. And maybe you didn't mean that, but how can we do this? How can we get to move forward and not have that happen again? We don't want to do that. And I think it's also, you gotten so weak, see? You don't even have any type of grit or wherewithal or overcoming about yourself. It's as soon as, again, something don't feel good, move along. And you are so weak, you can't tolerate anything. You haven't, you don't know how to solve a problem. It doesn't feel good, move along. And you're going to end up really alone. And when I say alone, I'm not just talking about a romantic partner. Your friend groups, you can't keep a steady friend group. And what you do, you don't even understand that the problem ain't everybody else. Maybe it's you, because you refuse to look outside yourself, look outside your background. All of your friends that think the same way, maybe look outside that scope. You might be, sometimes we swim in a pool that is so small in accordance to the whole world and everything else. So this is just for us to challenge ourselves to say, am I being reasonable? Am I reasonable with my friends? Am I reasonable with my family? Am I holding a grudge? Is that pride and pain getting in the way of my relationships?